What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to, my hat's all crooked. Welcome to Twitter Spaces AMA by the VGX Heroes. I'm going to be streaming this for the next 2 hours live. So if you guys have any questions, make sure that you do put it in the comments section, and I'll try to relay that to them. Or if any of the panel is watching, maybe they'll just have it pulled up on their screen. But yeah, try to be interacting if you guys can, if you want. Otherwise, just sit back and enjoy. I'm going to try to be a little bit more interactive like I did last week. I'm going to be putting up some of the stuff that they're talking about. You know, I'll drag it over to the screen and whatnot. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick market update like I usually do. So market's doing pretty well, guys. 9.02%. We're up the last 24 hours. A good uptrend from yesterday's dip that we had. Bitcoin's now 43,259. ETH sitting at about 3,052. Cardano's $2.24. Solana's up 19%, $146. Let's see. Top gainers that we have. Cody's up 42%. Cosmos up 34%. Terra Luna 34%, sitting at $33.31. AVAX, Avalanche, crushing it right now, up 32%, sitting at $74. And then let's see, got a bunch of other coins that are up, but I'm not going to go through all of them. Crypto bubbles, market's green, everything's looking good. Let's go to my favorite coins that we have. Let's see, AVAX, like I said, up 26%. HBAR, a lot of people like HBAR, up 21%. Voyager token up 10%, loving it. What else do we got here? Cardano up 12.9%. Helium, VeChain, Ethereum, Uniswap, man, everything's up. Luna's looking really good too. Crypto Fear and Greed Index did update. As you guys know, yesterday we were Extreme Fear 21 to now we're at 27. We're just Fear. So obviously the uptrend is doing pretty well. We're green. Looks like the Twitter Spaces is active right now. I got it pulled up on my phone. I'm about to disconnect from here, guys, and then just start playing the Twitter Spaces. And if you are listening and watching, let me know that you can hear it because there's something I got to do beforehand. I'm pretty sure I clicked it so you guys can view my computer audio. So, yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoy this. The next 2 hours, engage, ask questions, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. If not, maybe someone else will pop in and help out. So enjoy, guys.
Excuse. I don't know. The 10 to 11, sometimes it does get grueling, but you know, I'm just an energy drink addict, so it's cool. You know, I just pound my second for the day casually at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, no way. That would wreck me all night long.
Yeah, you know, it's just like a Sprite at this point. Pretty healthy diet.
Yeah, I got some pre-workout in me from about 2 hours ago.
Oh yeah, you're crazy.
So I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we have a pretty good turnout early, so we'll get it going right at 9. Everybody throw up some hundreds and tweet out the space bottom right. We get the show going. Love the good hundreds. Nothing excites me more. See y'all down there? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so we'll get it started, then we'll go over to Nick, let him talk, you know, here in the beginning, and then we'll get into the normal AMA, guys. Thanks for everybody that's coming in here. Another exciting Wednesday, you know, exciting week. Had a nice dump yesterday. Nothing's better than that. Or was it 2 days ago now?
I was a little constipated, but took a nice dump, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It was a 2-day dump.
Yeah, I just lose track of it at this point. Yeah, I have the chart. I'm literally looking at the chart. Yeah, I still question it. All right, it's 9 o'clock. We'll get it going. If everybody, once again, if you could tweet it out, but we'll get the show going, you know, start on time. So, you know, I'm Pepe Stallone. I see you waving, Michael. It's too early for that. I'm Pepe Stallone. I'm your host tonight. We're the VGX Heroes. This is our weekly AMA. You know, this every week I go over the history of it. So our fallen hero, Reeves, this was kind of his inspiration. He was big on education and, you know, letting everybody get a voice, everybody getting a chance. And, you know, not being too big or too small for everybody. So anybody that needed a question or wanted to learn more, this was their chance. I know, like, a judgment-free zone. Come up here, ask anything and everything. Happy to answer. You can ask us the most off the wall or the most basic level, and we're happy to answer. That's what we're here for. So with the VGX Heroes, we started just, there's a lot of fun on the coin. We like the coin. Kind of here, we just banded together, support that. This is not financial advice, nor do we work directly with Voyager. We just part of the community that, just likes the coin. So with that, I'm going to pass it over. And actually before that, this is being streamed live on Crypto Airborne's YouTube channel. So if you want to post questions over there, or you prefer YouTube, or you can't stay the whole time, feel free to jump over there and watch it, because it'll be posted after the fact. But I'll pass it over to Michael.
Thanks, Beth. So everybody should hopefully know me by now, but I'm an entrepreneur, founder, turned crypto enthusiast, and at this point, I just enjoy helping to educate anybody in the space, so that anybody that's new coming in doesn't get sucked in by all the shiny lights and bells and whistles, and starts to understand the space well enough to make informed decisions and can have that sort of independence that I think is kind of a rite of passage within the space.
Thank you. And before I continue on to the next panel, we are the education team, part of the VGX Discord. That we all just dedicate our time. This is just, we enjoy doing this type of stuff, learning, talking to people. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to us, and we'd love to get more people involved. But I'll pass it over to Aragorn as VGX Hero page.
Yeah, just quick note on that. Like Pepe said, that we have an education team. Basically, if you have any passion or skill set within the movement, trust me, there's a place for you. If you're creative, we have a creative team. If you like running stuff on social media, we got a social media team. And so I think everyone, if each and every person did a little bit, we can grow this movement running stuff on social media. Easy. We got a social media team. Definitely don't shy away. So I think everyone send each and every person did a little bit. Just let me know, and we'll work something out, because all of us are volunteers. So everyone, and I'm working on making things bite-sized as possible. Just let me know. I feel like I'm committing to something. Oh shoot, now I'm gonna be slaving away. No, it's nothing like that. And I'm working on making
we like as much or as little as you want to give. You can just say an occasional tweet on Twitter, or post an occasional tweet on Twitter, and that's cool with us. Or you could go as deep into this as you want. We're happy to have everybody. You got something else?
Where you want me to talk about anything specific? I kind of forget.
No, we'll do that. We'll do that later. Let's get through everybody first. So we'll move on over to Floki.
Yo, what's up, guys? Sorry, I was doing some other things, multitasking, but listening away here. I'm Floki. I'm just crypto Viking, here to speak from the heart. Help found the VGX Heroes with Aragorn and Maximus, and yeah, I'm just here to listen and learn like all of you guys, and we have a lot of smart people on this panel, so I'm just happy to be here.
Appreciate it, as always, for being up here and giving your spill. We'll pass it over to Crypto Daddy Pig.
Hello, friends. I am Crypto Daddy Pig, lovable cartoon pig, moderator of the charting section of the Discord. I throw out some of my own charts and encourage others to do the same. I am also a newly minted admin of VGX Movie Night. So excited to help them out with that and figure out how we can make it beneficial to as many people as possible.
Definitely so. And we're going to get into that more later, try and get more engagement on that, try and get some better ideas, feedback on that, get it so everybody can get involved and enjoy it. But we'll move on over to Thor.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. I've been on a couple of these now. But yeah, I've been a VGX here, I think, now for a couple months. I think number 78. I hang on the charting channel as well. Draw some lines out there with Crypto Daddy Pig. I think Michael hangs out there for a little bit too. Also, yeah, just lines. So don't take the squeals for too much. Been in crypto since 2017. Got very ingrained in the space. Too addicted to it almost. But yeah, I'm here to help educate people, help educate the space. I think the future is going to be phenomenal. and we're living right through it. Very confusing as well. So like everybody here, also I'm here to help kind of get into the space, educate everybody, and any questions, feel free.
Yeah, appreciate it. And speaking of that, the Discord, we have a ton of different channels, but in the charting channel, we're not just VGX Bitcoin exclusive. We're happy to chart anything for y'all. So if you ever want to see anything charted, feel free to come in there and request. But we'll move it over to Stone Cold.
Hey, thanks, Stallone. Yeah, Stone Cold. I am a big numbers guy. I do a lot of user growth, tokenomics, token supply. I started a Substack today with my first article with some what I hope is very exciting news for December. I also do a lot of the models, so if you have any questions about the VLP and how it kind of benefits you, if you can't find those on my Twitter, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to point you in the right direction and share my advice with you. And tonight is Texas's first 70-degree night since summer, so I'm on the patio drinking some Bullet and a aging room Nicaraguan cigar. So fun times.
Love to hear that, my guy. And I went ahead and pinned that article to the top, so it's a great read, a lot of good information. Definitely check that out. But that's the panel tonight. Appreciate everybody stopping in. If you could tweet it out, and everybody drop hundreds, and we'll get the show rolling. Nick, if you could go ahead and request, and we'll get you moving up here. And for everybody that doesn't know, Nick's the Chief Community Officer and Research Analyst for Trade the Chain. It's a sentiment analysis for crypto. It's a great platform. He's also one of the co-founders of the Platypunks NFT. So appreciate him coming up here, speaking with us for a little bit, and we'll let him hop on and take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, and fortunately, no technical difficulties this time, so that's good news. I am the Chief Community Officer and Research Analyst at Trade the Chain. You might have seen me in a few articles recently. I was just on Bloomberg TV the other day. I've been on CoinDesk TV as well. So if you don't know what Trade the Chain is, just to give you a quick synopsis, it's a front-end data platform that has sentiment and market data along with insights that allow you to spot opportunities in the market much well before anyone else might. More so, we like to say kind of 95, 99% of people, because they're just not looking for the kind of alpha that we're looking for. So we also have a massive community, global, tipping over 800 members, and all we do is chat everything from NFTs, DeFi, and trading, and everything in between. So definitely check that out. And then I'm also the founder of Platypunks, when we're the first NFT project to have a community-driven NFT collection, where the community decides what assets we put in our collection as well as what we sell, and then we give over 50% of the proceeds back to the community in the form of raffles. So it's all just kind of there's utility in there, and that's very fun. So how I got my start in crypto was back in 2017. I think the coin was Stratus, and then fast forward a few years, I founded one of the first sentiment companies in the cryptocurrency space, named Sync, while I was working at Deutsche Bank in their innovation labs. So we took that and we made a B2C, formed a B2B product that ended up doing pretty well. Eventually, I went to work for Oracle and managed their startup program on the entire East Coast, so New York to Miami, and then joined Trade the Chain right around the beginning of this year. So my background in crypto is very rich. I founded quite a few projects, and wanted to kind of step in here as someone who's been involved with Voyager since it was mere pennies, getting my friends into it before the big boom, before I even met Alex and got involved with what Steve and the entire VGX Heroes community was doing. So I wanted to just kind of be able to give back and kind of give some updates and kind of what I'm seeing in the market after kind of we've had a sea of red. And it's people are not entirely, I don't think, worried long term, but it's just kind of hey, we had a lot of euphoria. Gary Gensler saying weird things. This Evergrande incident is obviously has people on edge. So just wanted to kind of step in and just give my view of how things look and what you should expect realistically, maybe moving forward into Q4, perhaps into 2022. So I think what everyone's kind of has realized is that the Evergrande incident is looking to not be as bad as the worst case incident, if you want to call it that. It's not Lehman, but it is definitely a problem for China. China just injected, I think the number was 18 billion into their banking system, and they're taking care of kind of business in probably the most standoffish way possible, as they don't want to incentivize certain activity over there. So that had everyone looking to the Fed today, because the Fed is now talking about tapering. And if you don't know what tapering means, the Fed has been buying $120 billion worth of bonds, as well as mortgage-backed securities, for pretty much since the pandemic hit and they enacted everything. So early last year. And the idea is that they're going to start easing back on $120 billion worth of asset purchases, probably starting November, at the earliest, maybe October as well. So the idea is, if they stop kind of propping up certain markets, is that going to topple everything else over? So the market's been digesting that along with Evergrande for pretty much the past week, and it's just had everyone uneasy. It's just, what is big money doing? What is the Fed going to do? Will they raise rates? So it's just basically the past week has been digestion. And when people are digesting, they take profits. I don't know if you guys happen to watch Jim Cramer. He's pretty much the it guy for retail, other than the Wall Street Bets Reddit page. But when guys like that start saying sell, it kind of creates a domino effect. And we just had a lot of profit taking after kind of a glorious month after, kind of a doom and gloom period. So we took profits pretty much down to the 0.5 fib, which is a full 50% retrace from the recent move. I think Ethereum went down to about a 68% retrace, which is still within the fib level. So technically we're sound. We didn't break through the scary levels, quote unquote, if you want to call it that. And we've recovered in levels where there is a lot of interest, where the sentiment on both the retail and the institutional street seems to be buy the dip, but expect more volatility. So what that means is that, now that the Fed basically said that they're going to talk about doing something, the market's been digesting that information. But what's going to happen when that money actually disappears? And that's what the market's going to be fishing for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Is they understood that it happened, everyone took their profits, the expectation is still bullish, but what's exactly going to happen when the Fed actually does what they say that they're planning to do? So the expectation is volatility more or less to the upside, but that's equities, right? And equities just move at a very slow and steady pace. And if you actually throw the S&P chart on top of Bitcoin, the peaks and the troughs are more or less in line, but Bitcoin is just entirely more volatile than the S&P 500. So if equities continue to still go higher, the likelihood is that Bitcoin and other large caps, and as long as Bitcoin and other large caps are going higher, people are going to be chasing yield, meaning they're going to be using DeFi, which should be good for other L1s and their satellite assets. The idea is that if equities go higher, that is good for everything else. So if equities continue higher, then the expectation is Bitcoin and Ethereum will, although it will be much more volatile on the way, because it's not going to be a slow and steady pace with a 3% clawback. It's going to be 10% one day, minus 15%, followed by plus 30. It's going to be wonky, and it's going to shake out retail because the whales know exactly how to act. So in terms of large caps and what's happening, I do expect more continued upside, although I do expect this to shake out a lot of truly weak hands who are going to say, I'm going to wait for this level, I'm going to wait for that level, and set these weak limit orders. I think the best idea for probably the next 4 weeks would just be dollar cost average. Pick your date, figure out what you want to do, your allocation. This is if you're bullish, and just, and play it meal piece rather than try to time it perfectly, because I think everyone's going to be starting to make bottom calls. Everyone's going to be starting to make next target calls from a potential bullish bounce. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to digest the information and continue to buy in. Best way to do that is dollar cost average for the time being. So this is a very long-winded way to say that we should be bullish barring any black swan event. We have Gary Gensler saying what he's going to say. There's going to be situations where we may have a massive green day followed by a massive red day because we have conflicting news on a Monday and a Friday. So expect that moving forward. But the recent crypto research consensus that just came out for what the Q2 street or the street was saying at the end of Q2 and beginning of Q3, people are still bullish moving into next year. We are just getting through uncertain times in crypto. So if you didn't take your profits a couple days ago, if you've been in it for a while, it wouldn't be the worst idea, but I believe that we are still bullish moving forward, barring the Fed ripping away massive amounts of money from basically their buoy buys, if you want to call it that, as well as anything, if there is a massive default in China, there's going to be a flight to all assets. So, there is potential contingencies that could make this analysis moot, but barring an Evergrande collapse, barring Gensler creating extremely boa constrictor tight rules on crypto, I think we will continue in an uptrend and continue to make higher highs. Because if you look at the chart, if you continue to zoom out, even from October of 2020 to May of 2021, that's a higher high. And then if you go from July to where we are now, as long as we reverse from here, we're still moving at a higher high. So if you continue to claw back and you look at the daily, you look at the 4 hour, it'll start to make more sense. Although, we are in the continued uptrend and we're going to see volatility within the uptrend as we always do. The higher the price, the bigger the percentages, the scarier it can look on the down days. But for VGX specifically, I know that a lot of people are probably like, I get Bitcoin. It's going to, be the guiding light or whatever. But what's going on with Voyager token? I am still holding my Voyager token. I have not sold any. I've actually continued to buy more in the $3 range. I've continued to buy more in the $2 range. And I think that exchange tokens are going to have their day. So I just kind of have a basic theory about how the market moves, and it's very cyclical, just as it is when it's just going good and when it's going bad. But L1s always lead with Bitcoin. Then after L1s, their satellites start to gain traction. So, whatever products are built on that then start to get the bulk of the run after the L1s are finished. So then think DeFi, think NFTs. After all of that's finished, then people start to move on to generally exchange tokens, because at that point in the later stage part of the bull cycle is exchanges get really hot and everyone knows they're going to print high profits. So then they start clamoring for exchange tokens. So once the crypto market starts getting hot again to the point where retail traction is massive, generally around winter time, is when I start to get really bullish on exchange tokens. And since I've held Voyager for so long, I have not really decided to take any profits, because I'm still thinking about those double-digit price numbers, from my early buys, which I could afford to get out and not, really lose anything in life. So I should caveat that this is my decision based off very early entries. If you have gotten in at a very high price and you've got to still dollar cost average, that's a decision that you have to make personally. But I do believe at the later stage of the bull cycle is when exchange tokens generally take off. And if you actually look back on previous bull cycles, you'll generally see some correlation there, although kind of BNB is its own beast now that it's a chain and all that stuff too. So that's a bit of an anomaly, but those are my feelings on generally the full market at hand, and what I think about Voyager along with other exchange tokens. So you're going to see a lot of uncertainty probably all through October, I think. But I think the general consensus, if we zoom out 8 weeks from now, is going to be continual higher highs, just very volatile ones. So I'll leave it at that. And Pepe, I don't know if you want to do like a AMA or anything like that, but I'll close it there.
Yeah, appreciate that. He got through so many questions and so much stuff so fast. I appreciate your time. I know we have one question for you. I think Michael will ask it, but once again, appreciate that insight. That was fantastic. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, Nick, I got a quick question because it's been a while since I've seen you cover it, and I know your tweets, you really were pretty thorough about it. but do you have any recent takes on dollar index
I'm unable to
DXY?
hear him, just FYI. I hope I'm not the only one.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I can answer that. He was gonna ask you about the dollar index and your take on it. Oh, I think we're losing Nick. Unfortunate. We might have to follow up next week on that or something. But thanks again, Nick. I'll go ahead and move you down. That was fantastic. I appreciate it. Hold on, I'm gonna shoot him a message real quick and just say we heard it. Yeah, I'll move it over to Piggy on movie night if you want to speak on that for a little bit while I'll reach out to him.
Sure thing. So I was hanging out in movie night last week, and we were watching Big Lebowski, and I was not part of the main moderators or anything like that, but unfortunately we had a really just kind of a low showing of people who wanted to be involved, and I certainly understand. You guys all got busy nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights. You don't necessarily just want to sit in the Discord and chat, but I think there are some people that are available to do such a thing, especially if we start at an hour of the evening where kids are in bed and maybe you don't have plans. But I think one of the biggest problems that they're having, and was hoping that somebody who's listening in the community could kind of give us some advice on, is I feel like we don't necessarily have a way to make it so everybody's watching the movie at the same time. A lot of the time we're watching, and one person's a minute and a half ahead of the other person, so people are shooting out comments and quotes from the movie, and other people aren't even there yet. So I was wondering if anybody had either a subscription based idea or some way of basically getting everybody to be able to watch one screen with the movie playing at the same time, so that we could chat in the Discord and have fun, but everybody isn't on a different page. So if anybody has an idea for that, that would be wonderful. We're also looking for new movie ideas, so if anybody wants them to pop in the Discord and wants to watch a specific movie, please give us your ideas. We're going to have a couple of polls coming out in the next couple of days just to see what everybody's got interest in, and just trying to make it available, but make it a space that's convenient for people to pop in and out of moving forward if they want to be involved. Because I know even last week a couple people jumped in about half an hour into it, and there was no way for them to catch up. So specifically from a tech side, we're trying to look for a way to sync it up, and also we're also considering like multiple showings. So if somebody can't make ones, we may have it available both nights of the weekend, or maybe a weeknight or something, if we can get enough community sentiment on it to figure that out moving forward.
Piggy, can you quickly share what we have tried from a tech standpoint and how that hasn't worked, just for reference? Were there any services that we tried but then found out, oh, we can't legally do that, or so on and so forth?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't really know what the legal ramifications are of trying to stream something for a massive amount of people to watch. I mean, I know theoretically it's like, how is this different than me inviting everybody over to come watch it at my house? But obviously, streaming service and paid for services, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. What seems to happen, and I've been involved in 2 out of the 3 so far, just as a participant, but not somebody who's been trying to help out with things, is that a bunch of people show up at the time, and then it's like, all right, we're going to start in 5 minutes, we're going to start in 3 minutes, and then even at that point, okay, we're starting now. Like, somebody will have the service on, like last week we were doing Big Lebowski, and I have it on DVD, but there were people who were watching it on Peacock, and Peacock has commercials, so anytime somebody would hit a commercial, it was like, all right, everybody's got to like mass stop, or people give up and they move on to other things, or they just keep watching ahead of everybody else. So again, I think in that regard, it's just, we've got to get something to make sure it's an experience that's easy for everybody to handle.
So I know
Yeah, definitely so.
I know a handful of services do have like watch parties that all popped up, especially during COVID. But I think the thing that we'd run into is people having to dox themselves to each other because you'd have to have like a friends list with people's contact information that we don't currently have shared with one another. So it might be a super limiting feature in that capacity.
So just can anyone, if they do have insight on this topic, real quick, go to the emotions, and I think there's a raise hand button. Just so, and because if not, if no one raises a hand, then we'll just kind of move on, I guess.
Piggy, I would also suggest, since you're new to the group, go ahead and just scroll way up on that channel of the Discord, because early on I had shared what I had known as far as the legality of some of the stream casting services. And there are a couple ways to do it the right way, because I know we certainly didn't want to do anything not the right way. But there's some content already on that page that I don't think ever got used.
In the actual Discord itself, like when movie
Yeah.
night first popped up.
Yep.
Okay, I'll read into that. I was not aware. Yeah, because I came in kind of after it had already been going when Talladega Nights went on. So I will check that out. Thank you. But if anybody else has anything else that they can think of, feel free to either raise your hand and let us know, or if you want to DM me or the Heroes page or anything like that, we would love to just get some. Maybe there's another way around it that we don't know about. So.
Definitely so. And we're coming up on the 30-minute break, so can I do my quick shills? Crypto Airborne's live streaming this live on Twitter right now. He said there's about 60 people watching. Shout out everybody that's listening over there. So if you miss anything or want to catch up, we just had a great speech by Nick, a lot of great info. If you missed that, definitely check that out over on Crypto Airborne's YouTube. We speak a lot about our Discord because we're very proud of it. A lot of great things going on over there, a lot of really smart people in a lot of different areas, a lot of great subcategories for anything you could want. Follow the VGX Hero Twitter page. Like you see, they're hosting this. We want to continue pushing all the hero information through that to get it so every hero can see everything. Shout out everybody. Thanks again for everybody being in here. Can we get a round of hundreds? And if you're enjoying the stream, go ahead and tweet it out, and we'll keep this going. So
And the link for the Discord is on the Heroes Twitter page.
And yeah, and it's in mine, and along with the hero list is I believe on both of ours. But now that we got past all that information, is a little bit more up there type stuff. We'll move it on to, we've gotten a lot of talk about mining in our Discord lately, so kind of asked Michael kind of touch base on some ideas he has on mining and suggestions and things like that.
Sure. So one thing that it's important, I think, for everybody to understand is the difference between the ways that you can mine. And there's GPU mining, and then there's ASIC mining. And then there's mining yourself at home, and then there's mining, there's cloud mining, and then there's hosted mining where you're actually putting your equipment in a data center and running it, in bulk with other people's rigs, where you're essentially leasing rack space. And not all types of mining are created equally. So GPU mining typically is kind of the most accessible to people because it's the cheapest to break into. It's also one of the least profitable because you're really doing it just to kind of get an understanding and learn a bit about the process, but you're not going to break the bank as far as a return. What most people will do is that they'll use something either like Nice Hash or Kudo Miner and equip their rig to mine whatever the most profitable altcoin at the time would be, and then typically have the Nice Hash service or something like that flip it into Bitcoin or whatever they want their end product to be. So you can still effectively come out with Bitcoin if that's what you wanted by mining things like Monero is a popular one, and then flipping it after the fact. It's a good way to kind of learn a little bit about it, but it's really not deep into the pool mining. I would say if you're interested in learning about the space, it's better than not doing it at all, but it wouldn't necessarily be what I would recommend. Then there's cloud mining, which I would highly suggest no one even waste their time looking into. I will say that is advice because it's a complete crock of shit, and there's no way to turn a profit on it, and it's a waste of both time and money. So you're basically putting your time and money into making sure that somebody else can make money on your back. So I will skip that one. And then at-home mining, I think, is probably too deep into the pool for most people. So I think the happy medium that is gaining popularity in the space right now is hosted mining, and the most noteworthy source of hosted mining right now would be Compass Mining, so compassmining.io. And what you do, the way the process works with them is you essentially buy the actual hardware. So you'd buy the actual ASIC miner, and then you would put it on a hosting contract with them, and they would put it in a facility with climate control and security and tech support on site and all that, so that you're running in a place that, for one, you don't have to have the noise or the heat or the electricity costs at home. Many people don't live in a very cost-effective place to mine from an electricity perspective. So by hosted mining with them, more often than not, you can likely mine for a cheaper net cost than if you were to plug it in yourself, because they are scouting facilities that are either close to hydroelectric power or renewable resources, or there's a lot of like trapped like nat gas flare-ups or methane flares that are being turned into mining facilities. So because they are built in strategic places with access to cheap power, for example, where I am, where I know a lot of other people that I've discussed, the average price per kilowatt hour is like 12 to 18 cents for most people in their residential environment. And you'd need a 220 line just like you would for a stove or a big air conditioning or anything like that. So it's inconvenient to do it at home, whereas hosted mining through Compass, all in, including any kind of fees to them, is anywhere between like 5.7 and 6.7 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's about a third of the price per kilowatt hour. And it includes all of the technical side of things that you don't necessarily know how to do as a novice. And it's still something that I would recommend that most people look into just to educate yourself on the space, because kind of what takes you down the rabbit hole once you start to look into mining or start actually mining yourself is that then you get a little bit of a crash course education on building your own node and what your self-custody solutions could be, and multi-sig options, and privacy best practices, and OPSEC, and maintaining anonymity. And there's so many layers of the onion that all start to reveal themselves once you dive into the mining space. So I'm happy to, I could spend an entire 2-hour spaces on the topic, but I know that it's not something that interests or appeals to everybody, but it is something that I think should pique everybody's interest, even if you're not a Bitcoiner, even if you're not necessarily committed to the space. It's something that's important, I think, for everybody to understand, so that you can make an informed decision as to why you do or don't feel the way you do about it. And it's a solid way to understand some of the contrarian arguments to maybe how you feel. So, I know there's the Voyager community, so there's a lot of altcoiners in the space here, and sometimes what comes with that is the concept that Bitcoin is past its prime or it's boomer coin and all that. But a lot of that Bitcoin maximalism stems from more a dedication to the fundamental ethos of the project and not the investment vehicle. And I think that experiments in mining and operating a node and actually taking the sovereignty aspect of it seriously, you can develop a great appreciation for that once you participate in and understand the mining space or the node operation space, or even running and spinning up a node so that you can create Lightning channels and be a liquidity provider on the Lightning network, things like that. I think people should keep an open mind to, so that they understand it well enough to actually have an informed opinion based on the fundamental contribution to the cryptocurrency space, and not necessarily just the convexity of the investment or the alpha.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. And once again, we have a mining channel in the Discord. So if anything interested you or you want to learn more, definitely come over there and just tag him. He can talk all day about this. But hey, that was great insight and you did it in 5 minutes. That was actually quite impressive that you got through all that. But if anybody has any questions, definitely start requesting. We'd love to hear from each and every one of y'all. If any questions or anything you want to say, we can get you up here. But I'll move it on over to Stone Cold on kind of just like the portal closing and kind of the current token supply and just how all that stuff's looking. He went over that in the pinned tweet, but so you don't go through all of it, but if you could just do a quick rundown for us.
Yeah, so good times. The portal's closed, VLP's in place. We had 13.4 million VGX 1.0 that were burned, 25 million LGO, which works out to about 3.9 million worth of VGX 2.0. And it looks like, according to Etherscan, the total supply right now is 279 million VGX 2.0. There have been a couple comments regarding after the portal closed, there's been a total of 7 swaps, which I think some people are freaking out more than they should because it's literally just 7 swaps post portal. And if you go looking at some of those transactions, one was for the 3 LGO, and the gas fees for that were $11. So someone paid $11 to swap 3 LGO, which is worth like 0.4 VGX. And if you go look at some of the other transactions that have happened post swap, a lot of those are kind of ending up in a large wallet that holds about 4 million VGX tokens. So, I mean, we can speculate, but I think it's really related to Voyager or LGO just cleaning out the swap. Because if you look at some of the wallets where the transactions originated, they have burned transactions, all the sort of stuff that you wouldn't see from, just your normal trader that's buying up LGO every now and then. Some of these wallets have 150 transactions in the last 50 days, which is not, and that's just for one token. You're not going to see that kind of frequency with, myself or anyone else on this call really that's trading that much VGX all the time. So I really think it's a big nothing burger for anything that's going on. I'm sure Steve's going to address it in the short term. So yeah, even if you think worst case scenario and the portal just remains open for perpetuity, we're talking an amount of VGX tokens that with our current growth rate of the accumulation of VGX tokens within the community, it's going to be gone in a month and a half. And that's absolute worst case scenario. That's 99.9999% never going to happen. So we're just talking about 7 transactions. I really can't stress that enough, how sort of meaningless that is. So if that's something that kind of raised your eyebrows, I just put it in your rear view mirror and just continue on doing what you're doing. It's really nothing that we have to worry about.
Yeah, appreciate the insight. And once again, check out his article. There's some fantastic information in there. I'm going to turn it over to kind of Floki and Aragorn, kind of just talk about VGX Heroes a little bit, kind of the community, and just kind of moving forward. Either one of you want to take over?
Go ahead, Aragorn.
Nope, I was letting you. You do it.
I was quick with the draw too. Man, we just started back in June, right around this price actually. So it's pretty cool to see, how we've grown and supported each other through these ups and downs. It's really shown me that how diverse our community actually is, and it's just really incredible. Yeah, I mean, the more you want to get out of our community, I think you'll find it. Dig into the Discord, DM people. There are a lot of really cool, smart people here. And I can attest to that because I've met a lot of them in person. And I'm going to meet even more of them this weekend in Vegas to support VGX Hero Landon Castle in the NASCAR event, as well as the Voyager focus group and the Trade the Chain after party. It's real. It's more than just what did I say in a write-up that I said it's more than just Dungeons and Dragons and Super Mario coins, right? This is a crypto family if you treat it that way. And not all of us, not a single one of us are the same person. So or think the same way. So we're excited to get new people and unique perspectives, and we embrace everybody.
Definitely so. And I'll touch on that. I mean, I went to Daytona and got some of the crazy experiences of my life and met some of the heroes. It was a crazy experience, and it's crazy how far we've come, and we're still so small. We're gonna get so much bigger. And it's been a hell of a ride. I've enjoyed it and can't wait to see what is to come. But take over.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll just share. I think it's kind of a highlight from this past week. Obviously, sentiment kind of shot through the roof for many of us. Let's throw a couple of hundreds up for the cash back on trades when everyone kind of realized, oh wait, I could earn a little money here. And so let me just share what that week kind of felt like. So in a good way, our Discord was kind of like a ghost town. Everyone was all of a sudden back on Twitter and just like going crazy. And in a way, it just kind of made me happy because for a couple weeks, us heroes had been going on shill mode, right? We were all about getting people in the Discord and just like really agenda based. And like, I know I was kind of missing the relationship aspect of it. And man, that week was just pure celebration. I was just tagging people left and right and things, sharing, and we kind of stopped like the actively trying to get people into the Discord, becoming a VGX hero, because in a way I'm grateful for it, because then we would have distracted from the greater good that was happening. Kind of like with VGX, just like let people get on the platform first, then we can kind of highlight VGX. Same for VGX heroes. I think we need to get people comfortable in the space, celebrate them, welcome them, and then inform them about the community. So yeah, I'm glad that we just kind of got our priorities in line, and just remember that we're humans behind our fancy funny names or whatever. It's just we want to be seen and known and celebrated by each other, and I think we always have to keep that first and foremost at the front of our practices. So
Yeah. To riff off of that, I think, mentioning how we started back in June compared to now, and Discord being a little bit quiet and us going onto Twitter, I think makes sense. We were feeling old school with, the price action and the sentiment, and it was about going out there on Twitter and posting GIFs, flexing buys, showing unity through diversity. And it feels like we onboarded the most during the rise of the coin going up, but we were the loudest during times like these. So it was really good, and it made me really happy to see everybody posting and celebrating their buys and upgrading to their new tiers and just getting creative, really, because when sentiment's down, nothing's better, at least for my eyes, than a good, clever, fun GIF to match the perfect tweet, especially if you could keep it themed. I know it's been a bloody week. That's why you saw a lot of violent, glorious Viking gore from me, and that's really where it all started. And I had a lot of fun with it. A lot of fun. I was so focused on the awesome relationships and building discords and all that's important and stuff, but it's important, and contributing is all important, but it's also important just to have fun with it, right? And do what you think is right, which for me was showing people when I was buying. There are those who do and those who just talk, right? And I like to believe VGX heroes actually do.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it's all about. I mean, just positivity, uplifting each other. Like you post something, you can count on a VGX hero liking, commenting. That's what it's all about. Getting the engagement. You have a bad day, just shoot a message, shoot a GIF, tag me in something. I'll happily post Pepe's all day long with you as long as you want to go. So we're trying to be as positive, make everybody's day better. Too much negativity in the world, I firmly believe, and try and do the most for the world, make the world a better place, because there's just too much negativity and toxicity out there. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to have a bad day. So, but we'll pass over to Daniel, who just hopped up. You got a question or anything for us?
I do got a question, a quick question. It's late. I got to get to bed here soon, but this is The Rock. The dude that was just talking about Compass mining, hosting mining. Who was that?
Michael.
Michael?
Yeah,
Michael.
that's
All right.
me.
I'm going to follow you and talk to you offline. That was really interesting, and I might have some questions about that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, he knows as much as anybody in our community about it. So he's a great person to, if you're just, thinking about it, reach out and just see how it might, impact you and go from there. But I appreciate you hopping up there. But yeah, anybody else have any more on the VGX heroes before we move on?
I'll just say that there will always be ebbs and flows in the movement, meaning like heroes might like take on a certain voice or certain action like during certain periods of time, and that's completely okay. We're humans, you know, we react to things around us. So yeah, that's where there will be those times of celebration and you're just having a good old time, and then there will be those times where you have to educate more people. There will be more welcoming times there. So just kind of, well, one, stay true to yourself, you know, just do whatever like tends to make you the most happy, right? And then marry that with what you see the community doing, and seeing if you can intersect your skill set or your passion with what you see the majority of the community doing. So yeah, I would just say that. And if I could, I'm just gonna, because I think it'll hit home maybe with some of you. I want to take 1 to 2 minutes. I'm good at summarizing this kind of thing, but just sharing why I've been a little quiet recently. So I'm definitely one of those that can bottle things up for a while, or I'm really good at functioning even when life's going to crap. And basically, life's gone to crap this past year and a half. And but I finally took the right step, and I just entered Celebrate Recovery, which is a recovery program, but kind of through my church as well. It's for the next 3 to 9 months actually. So definitely, personally, there's some I struggle with looking at pornography, and I struggle from workaholism as well. I just don't have any boundaries. And working from home definitely hasn't helped with that at all. And then when Heroes came, it was just something else that I just dove into because I didn't want to face the problems deep down. So yeah, so if any of you ever are struggling with anything really, and just need that extra boost, something to kind of point you in the right direction, or take that step of faith to be like, I actually need to get help on a certain step, like, do it for sure. It's going to require, like I said, a step of faith, some guts, but it isn't going to get better. You know, I thought it would get better, you know, by this awesome community and surrounding and just finding work or fulfillment. It only lasts so long, and it did for about a month. It kept me busy, distracted me, but there was still that gnawing, eating away at me from the inside, and I was like, I need to get some stuff set straight. So yep, that's me. Just being a real person here, just like the rest of you guys, and just know that I'm here for you. Life hurts, deals you some blows sometimes, but that's what we're here for each other for. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that takes a lot of courage. Thank you for sharing that. And you know, that's what community is all about. Like, we all started as small accounts, just mostly came for news or whatever, and we've grown to, you know, make some true friends. And you know, if you're a newer VGX hero or anything like that, you know, just keep, you know, say good morning, good night every night. And I'm telling you, people, notice you'll find close friends. We're all here for each other. You know, just we're all here to spread positivity. Never feel alone. We're all here. This is what this community is for. We started in the downest times. We're going to have great moments together soon. I know everybody loves that word, soon. But, you know, that's what we're all here for each other. And we really mean that. You can DM any hero and they'll DM you back. So, you know, never have fear to reach out to anybody if you need help with anything. Definitely so. But I appreciate it, everybody that's in here. Can we get a round of 100s for everybody? There we go. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. But, you know, remember, as always, to stream live on Crypto Airborne's YouTube channel. The link to the Discord that we always reference is in my bio, VGX Hero bio, Floki's bio. If you're interested in becoming a VGX Hero, definitely reach out. We'd love to tell you more about it. And appreciate everybody that's in here. But kind of move on to the next. Michael, if we want to go over, you know, our weekly OPSEC. If, you know, you can start it and I'll tag on to it at the end.
Sure. So I delved into a little bit of homework last week when I told everybody to look into a password manager as we were closing out the spaces, and the topic came up again this week with someone who reached out to me about potentially going in for surgery and wanting to make sure that their OPSEC was covered. Just in case you have to think about the unthinkable and what would happen next. So one thing that I helped inform that person about that I figured I would help the community know is out there is that with certain password manager services, like for example LastPass, and this isn't an endorsement of LastPass, but just they're one of the ones that's the most accessible and the easiest to kind of teach people about. You can use a service like LastPass to basically create high entropy, fully randomized passwords for every different account that you have, so that no two accounts have the same password, and they're all fairly, difficult to brute force attack, and they're all cloud based, and you can either have them all backed by one master password that you control, or even biometrically on your phone or PC. It's a super convenient way of managing, hundreds or thousands of highly randomized, high entropy passwords. But to the subject that came up with the gentleman going in for surgery, one very interesting feature that they have is kind of a password beneficiary program. This is now the second time that it's come up in this community, so I wanted to take a minute just to kind of talk to everybody about it, because obviously with Reeb's passing, that was the first time that things kind of got real on this front. But with LastPass's beneficiary program, basically you can designate set people who, upon your incapacitation or death or anything that should happen to you, can reach out to LastPass and request access to your vaults. And the way that it would work is no one can do it nefariously. It's not like you can, you give it to a spouse or a loved one and then you get into a fight with them and then they can access all of your stuff. The way it would work is you have to truly be incapacitated for them to access it. And they would reach out to LastPass and request beneficiary status on your account. And then what would happen is LastPass would reach out to you, and you basically get like a self-destructing response email that if you respond to within 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever it is, then it stops that process from executing. But if you don't respond because you truly are incapacitated, then it would grant access to those accounts to your beneficiary. So it's just one more thing that dovetails nicely, especially for folks using, custodial services like Voyager. It's not a be-all, end-all solution when it comes to self-custody, because you still never put anything like seed words or any seed phrases or anything like that in it. But for normal passwords on normal custodial accounts, it's a service that I think everybody should at least be aware of. And then I would recommend it, do your homework on that between LastPass and then the competing solution that I would suggest people look into is called Bitwarden. So LastPass is more commercial and user friendly and kind of just more professional looking, and it's cloud based, whereas Bitwarden is more for the true like privacy nerd who wants to make sure that it's open source so that they can audit the code and it's completely transparent and you're not at the mercy of any kind of a attack vector for that trusted third party. So Bitwarden would be more that open source solution for that same need. But it's something I think everybody should look into and at least have a plan for, because nobody really wants to think about that situation until it's too late. But there are some solutions out there that make it quite easy. So I think that's my OPSEC little blurb of the day. We can get into more, maybe a little bit each week.
Yeah, and it's great insight, and I'll tag on once again. Just it's always better to be safe and not show your transaction IDs if you want to show off your buys. I'm not going to tell you not to. I am all for you buy and you're proud of it, show it off. Just make sure to cover your transaction ID. Just have as much safety as you can. Just we're in a industry that it's transparent, everything's peer to peer, but with that you lose it, it's gone. There's nobody saving you. And it's kind of on a different front, but in the NFT area, there's kind of been an issue arise, and it's coming up with people are getting airdropped NFTs, and they'll get them, and then they'll get a fish email that looks like it's coming from OpenSea, and it looks just like OpenSea. You got a bid or whatever, and people are clicking it, and it's connecting to their MetaMask, and they're hitting sign, and these like spams are getting people's account and wiping their accounts. So just always have best practices in all areas of crypto. But in NFTs, if you get a NFT airdrop to you, I would recommend do not mess with it all. Don't try to sell it. Don't try to move it. Just hide it on OpenSea and just forget it. Because you can never be too safe, and these are getting some people with big accounts. So just always be safe out there. But once again, we're open to any questions from anybody, so feel free to request. But Thor, you got something for us?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in on top of what Michael, you had said about the security and in case of unfortunate accidents of something happening to you, where your funds go. I'm in a situation where if I passed, a lot, and these funds were lost that I'm holding. There's people like my mother, my father who's ill, things of that nature, who I would really want them to have that money. So there's other services, like I know multi-sig wallets. They have things where, a multi-signature wallet essentially is like you hold a private key, and they can hold a private key, and there's also a third-party key or X-factor key that other people can have as well. So if you have, a beneficiary that you want to handle the money after you pass, they can have they can be essentially on the account and also have their own private key to go and access those funds. Or you can even separate it where they can only do that, once you pass and there's proof of passing. Another thing, if you want to get a little bit more into the deep dive of it, you can establish trusts with cold wallets in them as well. And then through that whole traditional legal system, it's fairly easy now, like a fairly common practice, where those funds are passed on to your beneficiaries through that trust. I'm happy to dive into that a little bit more as well, but I just wanted to chime in on that front.
Yeah, and one more thing to add on to that, on the multi-sig solution, I think this is fair game because Voyager doesn't have a debit card yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. Fold, who everybody knows that I like at this point, and I like their debit card product. If you are a debit card holder of Fold, they just released today a promotion where you get 1 year of Casa, which is a third-party multi-sig solution, for free. So if anybody happens to be a Fold card member and you're looking to at least experiment in multi-sig, even for the purpose of understanding it better, you can currently get 1 year of Casa multi-sig from them for free, which is a pretty friggin' huge promotion. No strings attached. You don't have to buy anything. So just to kind of increase awareness on that, because I do think that multi-sig is a very viable solution. I would say that's the next kind of tier down the rabbit hole that I would kind of elaborate into, but it may be a little bit deep into the pool of most people's assets are currently in custodial solutions.
Is that if you hold the Spin Plus card or anything, if you have any kind of account with them?
Good question. Let me double check the email. I do have a Spin Plus, so I know that I got the email.
Yeah.
But I'll look it up right now and I'll chime in.
Okay.
Good to know. I have a Fold card as well. So, but yeah, no, appreciate that insight, everybody. Once again, this panel's open to everybody. It's meant to get as many questions from the community as possible. So, as much as we love talking, we'd love to hear from some of y'all as well. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Let me move it on over to. I'm gonna move it back over to Stone Cold. I know you already kind of went into the token supply and anything, but just upcoming financials or anything. Is there anything you're looking out for?
I mean, we still have to wait another month until we get the end of year quarterly filings on the Cedar website. So that was really a breath of fresh air when Steve was able to provide that information. So when we even get those numbers, it's going to be lower because it's going to be the end of July, and he just gave us what the current supply was, with roughly 180 million held by the community right now. So with the filings that are coming out, we'll just be looking at all the assets under management. If you haven't gone to look at any of the quarterly filings, it will tell you if you care about something other than BGX, if you care about Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, it's going to tell you how much the community holds. So if you haven't gotten a chance to look, go take a look at those. And when those come out, it's just going to be more information that you can digest and kind of see where the trends are going within the community.
Stone Cold, while you're up, would you mind touching on, I saw that we had a question in the YouTube live chat on Airborne's page. Did you happen to notice that, or if not, I could read it off to you?
Yeah, that was from Fitness Den asking about how the burn tokens are going to affect the current VGX 2.0 supply.
Yeah.
So those are not going to be adding to the supply at all. There is no burn mechanism, so those tokens are just going to sit out there for perpetuity. and the mechanism to convert them to 2.0 is being closed with the portal. So you'll still be able to go see them out on Etherscan and our favorite VGX 1.0 whale with 4 million VGX tokens that can't do anything with it. They're just going to be sitting out there. And that's not being added to total supply. You won't see interest being added to those once it pays out at the end of the month. So that's what the current situation is with those quote unquote burn tokens.
Yeah, and just to clarify on burn, because some people, they don't understand the burn versus closed portal. So when people refer to burn, so some tokens, they'll send it to a dead wallet or just send coins to a non-existent wallet to fully remove them. But when we say burn, it's theoretically still the same concept. Like these tokens aren't getting added to the supply, so they're removed. So you might hear people call it burn, and we saw Steve say it's not technically burned. That's just kind of the clarification on that. But yeah, Thor, you have any information or any insight you would like to share?
Yeah, so actually, so in the beginning of this bull run, I was really into on-chain analytics. I just started kind of messing around with services like Glassnode, CryptoQuant. I don't know how familiar everybody is with on-chain analytics, but it's basically, I mean, the beauty of blockchain is that it's fully transparent, right? So with that, you're able to trace. I mean, it's very hard to do it by yourself, but you're able to trace every transaction from wallet to wallet, what's going on. Then throughout, studying the markets, studying and kind of putting together which wallets is whose, they have services now that aggregate all the data and make it pretty easy to see what's going on in the space. One thing that I always like to look at is the number or the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges, like the aggregate supply of Bitcoin on exchanges. And I just started looking back at the on-chain platforms that I've been using, but we actually just after this last drop, so on the 15th, we actually hit a new all-time low of all Bitcoin reserves across all exchanges, which is a very bullish signal because that just goes in the fact more that we are entering supply shock. More people are buying, exchanges have less, so naturally the price will be driving up as well. Another indicator that I've been using pretty frequently is the thermal cap, which has also been a very good indicator for every Bitcoin top since 2011. So every Bitcoin top. And traditionally what happens is you see a massive blow off top kind of spike in that market thermal cap. What the thermal cap is it's basically the the ratio of the premium in respect to like the price of Bitcoin and how much miners spend to mine that Bitcoin, right? And then you usually see like it really is it's just a spike on the chart. I'll post it later on Twitter. And then within that week is when Bitcoin's price starts going down, because I mean that's when all the miners start dumping their coins, taking their profit, etc. And that kind of causes that waterfall effect as well. And then NUPL is the third one. It's probably the most common as well. It stands for net unrealized profit and loss, and that's basically the ratio between the amount of people that are holding the unrealized profits and the amount of people that are in the red and just holding on to their unrealized gain or losses. And every time we've talked also in the past, we enter into the highest phase, which is essentially the euphoria phase of the whole cycle. And generally also within those 2 weeks, we end up that's when Bitcoin tops as well. Also looking at this, we haven't even reached the euphoria phase once. We've kind of been in the top of it, the belief stage, but things can change. But still, I mean, really that's typically when you see that. So I mean, any hesitancy where a lot of people have been saying where this is the bottom, this is we're done, bull market's over, etc. From looking at historical data, looking at even timing between Bitcoin halvings, the data's not there yet, and it really is that I think this was the capitulation stage. I know we were talking about this in the charts channel as well. This was the capitulation stage, and now I just saw that the on-chain data kind of matches that as well. It was just something that recently I had seen. I was kind of excited to share, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of really all I had there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. On-chain, super interesting stuff because you see a lot of charting and a lot of, kind of sentiment type on Twitter. But on-chain gives you a true different look and some great people to follow. They're known people as Willy Woo and Will Clemente. They're two big dogs when it comes to on-chain data. But you can see a lot. I mean, it keeps you updated on how much liquid supply there is, how many tokens, because I think it's something like 75% of all Bitcoin hasn't moved in over a year. So majority of the tokens that are moved are short-term holders, like guys that buy and then let us hands out quickly. It's stuff like that. So it gives you a different insight on because when you don't know about on-chain, you just think Bitcoin, like it's just getting traded, the price is going up and down, a lot of it's moving, but in reality, it's not. It's just a liquid supply that affects the price, and the liquid supply is which it's increased a little bit, but yeah, we're still hovering around the lows of multiple years, and that can just lead to some crazy price movement on the downside and upside when there's just not much tokens to be spread around. So that's why price can move so fast. But yeah, it's super crazy, informative stuff, and it's just another black hole of crypto to kind of get into and learn more. I would definitely recommend looking into it. But Michael, you got some to add on that?
Yeah, on the unrealized profit and loss front, when I was in Miami, I sat in a panel with a bunch of true traders like Sam Trabucco and a bunch of other guys that are just like killing it out there. And there was one interesting take that I heard from, everybody's like super analytical and doing all this crazy high level computations to figure out their strategy. And then one guy on the panel just comes out and basically just says, I trade MVRV in a binary fashion. And MVRV, for anyone that doesn't know, is market value to realized value. So it's a comparison of the current pricing and value compared to the current pricing and value that everyone actually spent on the coins that they own. And it was so simple and binary, but it was essentially if MVRV is down to 1.0 to 1.2, they buy everything with both hands. And as soon as it gets up above 3 and creeps up towards like 3.5 to 4, it's time to sell everything and park it and wait for the blow off. And it was such a fascinating metric to go back and actually look at a historical chart and just take a look at how simple that trading strategy is if you were to have applied it, and how dead right you would be like since the beginning of Bitcoin. It was completely fascinating to like de-stress your trade. If you're insistent on swing trading and you want to be risk on, risk off, or basically in like a long short scenario, you're long from 1 to 4 or 1 to 3.5, and then you can either go risk off, or you could even flip short and go short from 3.5 back down to 1, and you just ride that back and forth. It is a fascinating metric. I would suggest everybody try to find a chart on MVRV and go ahead and take a look at what happened every time it got down to around 1, and then what happened every time it got up about 3.5. It's really idiot proof.
Could you? I know nothing of this strategy. Could you speak on like the frequency that you think you would typically see it go from 1 to 4, monthly, quarterly? I mean, I'm sure it's pretty situational.
Yeah, no. So it's really just making a macro trade. It's basically like timing the runs. It's cyclical. So it's timing the bottom of each cycle and the top of each cycle. So it's that 4-year halvening cycle. You're talking minimal trading. Like this is not an in and out thing that they're doing. This is like they're putting all the chips on the table once every 4 years, and once every 4 years they're flipping the switch the other direction.
Got it. So that's the frequency I was looking for.
Yeah. But I mean, with the confidence that they were doing it with, they typically levering up pretty significantly because they have enough capital. I'm not talking 100x leverage where Bitcoin goes down by 12 cents, you're fucked and you're destitute for the rest of your life. But I mean, they're using whatever the appropriate level of institutional leverage would be within reason.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder the term trader. Like how short term do you have to be considered a trader? When I think 4 years, I think investor, but I guess it really depends on your perspective. Maybe we should come up with a new term for someone in between.
Yeah, so I think you're right, especially in the traditional sense. But I in the crypto space typically use the word trader for anybody that's not just a conviction play, and you'll find that mostly in the Bitcoin, Ether, or even a lot of times now in the Cardano space. You've got those just tribal believers that it could go to zero and they'd still buy more. And it's, they're in and it's permanent because they've converted to either the Bitcoin standard or the ETH standard, whatever. They've changed their fundamental outlook on life to base around the fact that they've converted all their worth to this asset. So I know it's a bit liberal to say that anybody that isn't that far off the reservation is a trader, but I think the cyclicality of it kind of makes it so that you can still be a trader and not necessarily have to be a high frequency trader.
Definitely so. And just getting on kind of like this category, just historically, September, for people that don't know, it's one of Bitcoin's worst months of the year statistically over the 10-year lifespan. And some kind of positivity to look forward to. October and November tend to be some of the best months historically. So a lot of people wanted to get optimistic about September, but a lot of people that have been in the game a long time, they saw it coming that September is probably going to be up and down, volatile, while we're looking towards more of an end of year spring push. So, but yeah, great insight. Love hearing all things trading and anything like that. So any insights better. Once again, feel free to request if you have any comments, questions, anything you want to tag along. We'd love to hear from new people, but appreciate the conversation that's going on. Let's keep it going. Once again, for the VGX Heroes, this is a educational AMA that's was kind of thought of by our fallen hero Reeves. It was just to kind of answer any questions the community maybe didn't want to ask on Twitter to get persecuted. That sometimes can happen. This is a judgment free. You might have a question that you think's dumb, but I can guarantee it. You know how it always goes. If you have a question, I can guarantee somebody else has that same question. So feel free to come up here and ask. But yeah, let's keep the conversation going. We can move it over to Floki to kind of get on to kind of like a gateway to a new conversation. You want to take it away?
Yeah, but don't be shy. Any questions? Let's get them up here, whether it's right now or in the middle of our next segment here. So as I mentioned, I was going to the focus group on Friday. So I figured maybe we could take some of this time here with all of you guys here to kind of have a little mini focus group, and I can take some of these great ideas that I know we're going to come up with forward to the session to get it into, the cogs of Voyager itself. So I'm trying to anticipate what it is they're actually going to cover, and I don't know. I mean, I even asked. I was like, what are we thinking about here? What's the deal? I want to prep. But I don't know yet. So, I would think they're going to ask something along the lines of marketing, of course, both from the current holders' perspective and attracting new customers' perspective. I forget the screen name, but I saw it yesterday. Some guy with a nice fro posted a 9-tweet thing about,
Yeah, Crypto Fro Bro.
Yeah, if he's here, I'd love to give him throw a mic at him to see if he catches it, but he's not. So, yeah, I'm just gonna challenge everybody to think as VGX holders, but probably more as how do we attract more people to Voyager? And I'm keeping it very, very general. And I guess I'll start, and we could just get the conversation rolling. I was talking to my father about it. And Aragorn, be ready with that sheet of yours.
Yeah, Pepe, can you pin it?
Yeah, let's pin that sucker.
Yeah, I got you.
Links in the education channel.
And guilty of, I haven't reviewed this sheet in a while. I looked at it back in the day when we first started it months ago. So excuse my ignorance of something that's already on the sheet. But anyway, I was talking to my father last weekend, and he is a stockholder of Voyager, but not coin. And I asked him why. And he said it's the risk factor, essentially, because he doesn't really understand crypto all the way, and he doesn't really have the time to dive deep into it and read the Bitcoin standard, right? So, I think that therein lies one of the challenges for marketing, which is essentially educating people on the different risk factors of crypto, and maybe even comparing it to traditional stock trading in a sense. Like, you could look at Bitcoin, VGX, and all that other stuff as just basically your growth portfolio with, I'd say, more than above average risk compared to stocks, because that's just the sentiment of the world for people that aren't in it. Versus stablecoin, which I think is the lowest risk factor that we could possibly entice, folks like my father to, take a step into this, especially those that are older, right? A guaranteed 9% APR on something that doesn't go down. I mean, where else can you get that? Think of it like your savings portion. Not to mention when you get it liquid. So there's like breaking down the risk factor, and I'm sure there's other risks that you guys could come up with that should be talked about. But as well as laying out the comparables, aligning that risk with the growth. It's obvious, the volatility, the rips, and the dips. But for stablecoin, like, what other options are there for extreme minimal risk savings type investment with bonds and other stuff? You mentioned some numbers, Michael. I'm sure you could, or anybody on the panel has like bond growth stable stuff. What are some stable coin comparisons do you think that we could use as a pitch point for new customers to come on the Voyager?
Always stick with the S&P's average annual return over, the past, since it went off gold standard, is 6.5%. So you're beating the S&P 500. That's kind of the known, like, throw your money in that. That's your long-term investment. You beat that without having the downside risk that comes, every few years when it's red. Like, to just have 9% in just pure savings account is just absurd. It's one of those things. It's hard for people to even grasp, and that it almost makes it. They think it's like there's some risk or sketchiness with it, that it's so high for something that's just the equivalent of a US dollar.
Yeah, I agree. I think the APY is probably the biggest thing, especially for those people that are very risk averse. So I actually had a conversation with some of my coworkers about this recently. But yeah, you talk about the APY. I mean, especially if they have money just sitting in their bank accounts, like, right away, that's incredibly, like, better of just a turnaround of keeping your money in keepsake, but also making a little bit. And then after that, also you would compare it, like, if they think it's kind of too good to be true. I always go into the public aspect of Voyager. Most of my risk averse colleagues, after they heard that Voyager is a public company, they're happy to at least check it out. They dive into the USDC aspect of it, and then from there, they're looking at all these coins. They're looking at all these like percent gains that Bitcoin's seeing daily, etc. And you can kind of start talking to them a little bit more about the space overall in crypto and just slowly educating them.
Definitely so. And it is a hard conversation. Just that the word crypto, for somebody that's had their pre-stigmas on it, even explaining this USDC is just it's pegged to the dollar. It's even backed like 95 to 100% full back. Like, it's liquid. You can get your cash at any time, and just to earn 9% without even staking, you just have it in Voyager just sitting there for a month.
Right, and especially with the USDC coin, or USDC overall, I think it's Deloitte that audits the account on a monthly basis to make sure that it does have that 95% match of actual money in the bank.
Yeah, it's something like, I think they have 75% cash, and then the other 25% is like US bond equivalent, very liquid. Like, they want to be a
Fully reserved.
Yeah, they want to be recognized as a reserve currency. But Logan, I see you hopped up here. You got a question for us, my guy?
Yeah, I was just wondering. I've been looking through the white paper, and I've been looking through anything on the website. I'm curious as to how Voyager's lending program differs from Coinbase, because I see everything going on with SEC and Gensler and everything that's going on. and I'm curious as to what our play is in terms of risk adversity on lending with Voyager.
Yeah, so once again, it's kind of a sticky topic, but Thor, you want to take over on this? And I'm sure Stone Cold has some comments as well.
Yeah. So I'd actually dove into this a little bit recently on one of my tweets, but there are some nuances that come with Voyager's security policies and what they're doing with the money they're like how they're making the money to give you an interest. One of the biggest things is what Coinbase was proposing to do and what BlockFi was doing was that they were just straight up, taking your money, loaning it out to other customers, taking that return and giving it back to us. So that's a little bit more iffy. Matches security a lot more. On Voyager's end, what they do, where they make the biggest chunk of money, is they have a lot of larger partners that they work with, lending partners that are actually certified to be, to manage securities and loan out money, etc. And what they have a contract with those partners. They give them money, loan out the money, and get it kicked back, and that's how they are able to provide us that interest, which is a little nuance that legally right now gets them out of the woodworks. We'll see what happens if the SEC decides to pursue them or not. Either way, Voyager was built from the ground up by Steve Ehrlich with a focus on security. That's also why they were growing a lot slower. They knew that these regulations, with a focus on regulations. He had a vision of a multi-year vision of the industry, what's going on, and he wants to become a financial leader of the new space, right? He was the CEO of E-Trade when they started, right when personal investing became a thing, instead of just having to go to a broker. And with that, there was a ton of new regulations coming out on that front as well. He managed the landscape and made E-Trade come out on top, essentially, as one of the first leaders in the space. He's doing the exact same thing with Voyager. It's different technology, different financial avenue, but he's been here before. He knows what he's doing, essentially. And if the SEC did come after Voyager with that type of problem, it would delay, the growth of the platform and everybody, the growth of the platform overall, but that's happening everywhere, right? So, with that, he has an acquisition model, build versus buy. He's notorious for buying other companies to help them, grow and meet their needs, just like they acquired LGO to go to Europe, etc. And so what they would do is they would acquire an organization that already has the licenses needed for that USDC coin and to get by the regulations. So I think overall, this is kind of a good thing, or like silver lining. It's a good thing for Voyager, just because they're so much ahead of the game of the other brokers and the other exchanges and fiat on-ramps that customers are using, and essentially is our competition. Man, I ran out of breath there.
No, you're good, man. I appreciate that explanation. That was fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question for you. Can you dive into the details? I'm sure someone on the panel can better than I. What the third party specifically is doing with the money, and I'm assuming they're investing in certain assets or whatever, and the diversity of what they're doing with it. Because my father was like, "Hey, well, if they're taking our money and betting it on Bitcoin, and then the whole market tanks, isn't it kind of a double negative?" And I said, "I'm sure that's not what's going on," but without knowing the details specifically. Can you guys talk to that point a bit?
From my understanding, majority of their partners are actually like loaning it out to just loaning out funds to businesses and to individuals. So they're not purchasing or investing in anything, but they're actually organizations who deal with loaning out money.
That was exactly what I was looking for. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry that I dropped out. Twitter wanted to force restart my phone real quick, but I'm back. Sorry about that.
Nobody realized you were gone. I saw you sitting there, and I was like, wait a minute, approved speaker.
And also the amount of money that's lent out, that's also available in the quarterly CEDAR filings. I think back in March, it was about 16% that was lent out of the total assets under management. So even if you assume worst case scenario where you have something bigger than the May drop where everything just absolutely tanks and everyone's worried about default, that's only 16% of their assets under management at that time. So, I mean, I could have took that worst case scenario and you're still going to be fine, but you're still going to be able to operate.
Well, and that's where I'm kind of coming from. Is I worry. I think that's why they probably went after Coinbase, is because they were probably going to lend more or less probably the lion's share of what their AUM was, and so I bet you Voyager's probably just staying on the safe side of things in anticipation of some regulatory clarity.
That would make sense.
Yeah, definitely so. But that's another thing that draws me to Voyager is just Steve's been in the game for so long, and I mean, you look at a lot of these different exchanges and brokerage. It's ran by pure crypto young guys who have been crypto only guys, and they've kind of done it their way. That we don't need others. We are this peer to peer that doesn't need anything, and they're gonna play catch up when these regulations come. Well, I think Voyager's on the forefront of being one of the few that are just allowed to just continue as if, or slight changes, but that's just a huge benefit to be on this side of the game. But yeah, appreciate that question. I got some good conversation going, and that's always a good topic because I know a lot of people wonder about that, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, thanks. But what about the flip side? I'm sure this is where we all could really dig in. Like, you could think of it as VLP improvements, or how are we marketing VGX and Voyager to current holders that are already on the platform. I was talking to Thor earlier today, and it just had just a random idea about wouldn't it be cool if Voyager listed somewhere on the platform how many of the different tiers are available in the open supply that isn't claimed by holders. You could literally see how many navigator tiers or left, or explorer tiers or adventure tiers are left, and at all times it shows, oh, this is how much is left, and create some FOMO action. And any other random ideas that you guys think would be cool?
I think the whole gamification aspect of it is huge. I mean, we've been bred, our generation, and everybody coming into the kind of the technology space, on our phones, everything is gamified. Robinhood's been gamified. Even something happens, it pops up like, "Ooh!" I love that feature. Like, "Ooh, you're a navigator. Ooh, you're an adventurer. Congrats." I think another big thing would be some type of accumulating total of how much interest throughout your whole portfolio you've made, or even how many rewards in dollars that you've made over the lifetime of your account. I think that's big because one, most people still think in US dollars terms versus crypto. So when I see, when people see they got this amount of VGX, it doesn't correlate as well as whoa, I've gotten X amount of dollars over this past 3 months, something like that. And then maybe even having kind of levels ooh, you got your first $100, woo, you got your first $500, something like that. Just kind of that makes you want to get to that next.
Yeah, I think the running counter is a good idea, but I think the gamification is where you got to be careful, because Robinhood also got bent over for having stupid confetti when you placed a buy, because they had gamified it in excess, in the eyes of the regulators. So I know that's on Steve's radar and the team's radar, but it's also maybe when the regulators are out there swinging knives, it's probably not the best time to fuck around. But it's such a stupid thing to get burned over. But knowing that confetti on the Robinhood app was excessive, I would say that they'll probably be a little tepid on those ideas for now.
Yeah,
very good point. Yeah,
definitely so.
A quick tutorial on just so in the pinned tweets, go to Lord Aragorn's tweet, and that has the link. So I am Lord Aragorn through this channel tonight, and you've probably seen me posting literally on so many threads and stuff with the Voyager community ideas and feedback sheet. So that has literally been compiled from stock twits, from Telegram, from like you name any facet of the Voyager community. I've been scouring the internet for the past basically 2 to 3 months. And anytime there's any form of feedback or idea, I've been adding it to this. And also, if I don't catch it, the sheet is designed as comment access. And there are instructions on the sheet for how to properly access it, how to leave a comment. I've tried to think of each and every way that we can effectively compile community feedback, because this is how we move forward with ideas. It's all well and good to talk amongst each other about it, but you know, how do we, are we filing a support ticket to share this idea with Voyager? Like, no, that's not exactly. But when we put our voices together, you know, that's when it starts to gain traction. So Voyager has eyes on this sheet. Steve has personally communicated via DM that he'll be looking over it with his team. You may have seen a couple weeks ago that Maxwell or like some people from Telegram like were DMing Steve like a very long email or whatever. That has also been incorporated into the sheet. So it's just designed as an easy view all, and it'll get sophisticated from here. But right now it's a lot of information. So before you add anything, make sure you use the find feature and see if someone has written up some similar feedback before you just go ahead and put it in there.
Yeah, hold up just a second, Michael. Before we continue, Blondie and SRI, we see you. We'll get to you in just a second, but go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know that we've got a couple speakers that came on that have questions. I just wanted to do some quick housekeeping a minute. So just to revisit a couple things, Aragorn, on the fold promotion for Casa, there's nothing in the email that says that it's tier specific, so I think it's open access to everybody. And there's a promo code that should have been emailed to you. So if you didn't get yours, I can give you mine because I'm not going to use it. But I would suggest everybody that's a Fold card holder can check their email to get their code to get a free year of Casa. Floki, to your points on it, or to your follow-up questions on a couple things that I had mentioned. First, I pinned a tweet up top here with a little bit about Bitcoin MVRV currently. So we're currently sitting at 2.2, which is right in the middle of the range, which is typical for the middle of a bull run. And then as far as your dad not having the time to commit to the Bitcoin standard yet, I pinned the Swan documentary that was released this past week called This Machine Greens. The production value is not the greatest, but a lot of the content that's covered mimics the first 7 chapters of the Bitcoin standard, which I think should be taught to every man, woman, and child on earth. It's not even the Bitcoin specific stuff, but just the overall monetary policy, economics, and Keynesian versus Austrian economic stuff that our school system just leaves out now. And then lastly, as far as kind of orange pilling normies or TradFi folks, I just included a link to WTF happened in 1971.com so that people can familiarize themselves with all the things that have basically just gone off a cliff since we left the gold standard. So those are some good resources that tend to translate well to normies. So I've just figured I would share those. And that's all I had. Pep, if you want to go ahead and get to the speakers, I know we've got some questions on the floor.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man. I
definitely so.
retweeted all of them.
Yeah, appreciate you adding those to the pinned, and definitely check out the pinned on the doc for ideas. That goes straight to Steve, so he sees all that. That's great stuff to have. Get your voice heard. But yeah, we'll move over to Blondie real quick and get your question, my friend.
Is it okay if I throw out a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So you're talking about just getting the word out, education. I threw this out on Discord earlier, but wanted to bring it here tonight real quick. I think the community aspect is just something that we can't underestimate. That's just a huge part of what people are looking for today. You've got so many people that are feeling ostracized and divided and hated for being on, for making a decision, about what they feel about on any given topic. And this group right now, this is a community, right? That's why we're on here tonight. You got people of all ages, people on different coasts. It's 10:35 over here on the East Coast, and some of y'all Cali boys are out there just finishing dinner. And yet here we are all together making time. And so I was thinking about this earlier, and again, just threw this up on Discord, but how cool would it be to like set up, and maybe this has been done, I've just missed it, but how cool would it be to set up like a community of the month like us, but like H Barbarians or Shib Army or Stormtroopers or whatever, and just take this group and say, look, for the next 30 days or whatever we set, whatever time frame it is, and maybe you want guidance from Voyager on this, who to target, but we just hashtag them in everything we post Voyager. And when they start asking questions, it just opens a door for us to say, look, if you're not holding your, your StormX on Voyager, or you're not holding your H bar on Voyager, you're missing out. You're not holding your Luna on Voyager. There's interest for you if you hold that Luna there. There's interest for you if you're holding your Cardano there. There's the ability to earn on your trades. There's security in USDC and the interest rates on that. But just going at it from a community standpoint and saying, look, I mean, people are loving the community aspect of this, and if we can combine our community, the power of community, with what other people already have established, those are people who already are in crypto. Those are people who already have community. I mean, that's, you're checking off stuff before you even get started. So I just wondered if we'd ever consider, like, just as heroes, as kind of taking on something like that. That's all I got. Appreciate it.
Yeah, actually, really like that. I've never thought of that idea. That's a great idea to kind of work these different communities that are very passionate on their own. Yeah, definitely. That's something we could definitely look into. Floki, you got a comment on that?
Yeah, we're definitely not VGX maxis. I know I've had a couple of posts early on in the Heroes history, especially when Shib came on. That was kind of the catalyst to be like, hey, let's reach out to everybody. H Barbarians, Lunar Landers, whatever, Doge Walkers, Ship Walkers, whatever army, if it's on the Voyager platform, we are an ally, right? And I think it's a great idea, focusing on different communities and bringing them together to make a larger force. Because if VGX Heroes is about diversity, which I believe we are, we should embrace every single community. Success for crypto as a whole means success for VGX, because we are we are a platform coin. We will hopefully, there'll be some VLP stuff in the future that allows us to boost whatever community's coin it is, in some form or fashion. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody on here, your little pie chart on VGX probably isn't 100%, VGX. And again, if we're able to, connect those other communities, they win by the more Voyager they hold, the more they win too. They can trade, they can earn interest, and I mean, it's a win-win. It's a victory for them. And you hit the right person or the right group of people, and it takes off in another community. I mean, who knows, what type of wallets you hit, how many people you hit. It just, if it had to be a concerted effort, though, I think. I mean, if 5 people are doing it, that's not going to make a huge difference. But if we're all doing it for a certain period of time, aiming at a certain community, then you've got like a targeted marketing, program going on. That could be something.
Yeah, definitely so, and I appreciate that. SRI has been waiting for a little bit, so let's get to him. But that's definitely something we'll throw in the Discord and kind of talk more about. That's a great point. Appreciate that.
Well, thanks, guys. I mean, like Blondie said, I want to echo this. It's a great forum, and thanks for doing this. So I had a couple of quick things. Maybe it's already. I mean, first of all, thanks for compiling that sheet. I mean, it was a good read. I mean, like, it kind of shows the passion that this team has, genuine interest in doing something good for Voyager. So I really appreciate that. So maybe it's already there. I might have missed it, but somewhere in Voyager, if we have them put like how much money somebody would have saved or earned, for a price improvement or from interest. Like, for example, if I don't even own Voyager, kind of somewhere it shows, if I buy 500 Voyager, this is how much I would save or earn, whether from price improvements for the trades they've done in that month or until that point, or how much money interest they would have earned on the coins they have. And like, if I'm already on a particular level, kind of encourage people to kind of let them see how much money they would have earned or saved or for like if they had a higher tier.
Yes, that idea and those ideas are currently on the sheet. Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
They got added basically shortly after cashback. Everyone was like, everyone needs to see this. So yes, those are great. Those are great ideas. Hopefully, hopefully it gets implemented.
Yep, and on the same lines, is it possible to get Steve? I mean, Steve is on every YouTube channel, and he's a great guy in that aspect. He doesn't. He spends a lot of time being on all these channels. Is it possible for him to get him on one of these sessions one day, just like we got Nick and others?
Yeah, so he's joined one of our spaces before, but not any of our educational. It's definitely something I'm gonna continue to keep asking and try and get him up here. We even asked him tonight over an issue, but yeah, we're gonna keep working with him. It is a little bit later in the nights, so we might have to look to maybe host an earlier space one evening for him. But yeah, I definitely would love to get him on here. It's just kind of his schedule and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this tends to be train time on his way home. So when he has hopped on and stuff at this hour before, he's typically on a train on his way out of the office. So it may have to either go earlier or later, or I don't know. We'll see. If there's a situation where he can accommodate, then I'm sure we would work around it to get him on the stage for everybody.
Yeah. All right. I mean, and some of these changes are really like like if it is something like debit card, or if there's doing something with the platform, we can understand, the time it takes for them to do it. Like being a technician and a developer myself, some of the changes we're putting in, especially from an in-app marketing perspective, and that's what's kind of perplexes me sometimes. Why it takes them so much time. Because these are very, very small changes in the context of development and rolling them into the application. But again, of course, they may have a different plan for that. But I mean, these are things I think would improve Voyager adoption, I guess, VGX adoption especially.
Definitely so. Yeah, appreciate you hopping up here and throwing these comments at us. We appreciate it. But we'll definitely, I'll continue to reach out and try and figure out a time that would work with him, try and get him on one for sure.
Thanks, sir. Bye.
Sri, I would agree, man. I would like to see some of the finer details too. I think the community that's already well ingrained, there's more value for us to see, between the lines. I'm sure the majority of people don't really care, but it'd be nice to have it there just for us to look if we want it.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Jesse, you hopped up here. You got anything for us?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I was waiting for y'all to kind of go through. Yeah, it's funny. I was like, I was gonna ask the same thing. I was wondering if it was possible to get Steve in one of these spaces. I also asked Rob over at Digital Asset News. I was trying to ping him on Twitter. I'm like, yo, you should probably get in one of these spaces because he's a big, king of the shill for VGX. So I don't know.
Yeah, like we had Nick on from Trade the Chain, and I'm definitely trying to work with guys to keep getting new big voices in here, new and input from different avenues, and more insights the better. Getting some guys that are kind of interconnected in different things is we all like hearing new things and great insights. So we're just starting to get to the point where it's known every Wednesday night we're going to be on. So we're going to keep this train going, continue to try and push, getting some bigger names on here, and definitely looking to get Steve and Rob. That'd be a great one too. I'll definitely reach out to him and see kind of his schedule on Wednesday nights, and maybe potentially we could try and maybe work it out with him and Steve the same night and kind of focus that night more on them, something like that. But I'll definitely start reaching out to them more, trying to coordinate something. But yeah, appreciate you hopping up here.
See if I could make some magic happen in Vegas for this AMA stuff. Get some guest speakers.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, and tell them we're flexible on the time. We can work with them. We're still trying to figure out the most ideal time because we know this is. I mean, I'm somewhere on the East Coast at 10:45. It gets pretty late for this, so we're trying to kind of work around everybody's schedules, kind of alternate, make it best for everybody.
Yeah, and I just want to share a quick bit of vision for what I see in terms of community feedback in this sheet. So the history of it currently is, at first it was just a list. There were no tabs on it. It was just a list with some like categories along the way. But the whole thing was, I just wanted people to feel heard, right? That it wasn't lost in some support ticket or whatever that got sent to purgatory. Like, so that was the first iteration, and it was just for me, for my own organization, my own thoughts. And then I posted it, and then before you know it, people were wanting to add to it, and I was like, oh, well, this is getting bigger than I thought, and it grew and grew and grew, and then so where I think I see it kind of living and functioning moving forward is now we're at that point where it can begin to look much more sophisticated. And it might look like maybe I get a few of the heroes, definitely put in kind of a think tank focus and begin honing in on kind of weighing, not choosing what Voyager can and cannot do, because that's the tricky thing. We view it from a consumer or a customer standpoint and really might not have any idea what their priorities are, what their bandwidth is, and so on and so forth. So I've been very careful not to police it or put my own lens on it. I've just been putting people's feedback in. That's been it. But again, this kind of second iteration for where I think this sheet could go is definitely more along that lines of really adding some really insightful lens to it, if you will. So that's my little plug.
Definitely so. It's come a long way, and way more than I could have done with it. And I appreciate all the back end work that takes, because I know it's some tedious stuff. But once again, I appreciate everybody in the community that's helped out with that. We want to keep adding stuff to it. So you ever have a new idea that's not on there, we'd love for you to add it. And
yeah, I've gotten like 3 comments a day for like the past 2 months, on top of everything that I'm already kind of manually adding. So it's definitely kept me busy.
Yeah, we appreciate all the work you put in. Once again, this was live streamed on Crypto Airborne's YouTube channel. So if you jumped in late or missed any of it or just want to rewatch, it's over there. We had Nick from Trade the Chain. He had some great insight in the very beginning. Appreciate everybody that's been in here. We got about 12 minutes left. So if you have any last minute questions, definitely hop up here and we'd answer them. But had some great conversation. And once again, we do this every Wednesday night. It's an AMA. So more questions from the community is the better. Join the Discord. It's in my bio, VGX Hero's bio, Floki's bio. If you're not a VGX hero and interested, reach out to us. And the hero list is pinned in my Twitter and Floki's Twitter as well. Appreciate everybody. Let's wrap up this last 12 minutes. So any last minute questions, feel free to hop up here. Piggy, we haven't heard much from you. You have any thing you kind of seen around the community or anything you want to add on?
And I don't know. I'm so happy again, always to see so many my friends in here, so many VGX PFPs to look down at. So many familiar faces that look and come here every time to just sit here and just speak on what's on their mind or just even listen. I will say that every time I wish that more of you would come up and talk and speak your mind, because I am clearly a space case myself. So nothing that you guys are going to say is any worse than anything that comes out of my mouth. So don't be afraid. But I don't know. I'm looking at some stuff in the background right now and trying to just be a friend. But I just love you guys so much and really appreciate that you guys can spend 30 minutes, an hour, the whole spaces with us, and just keep coming back. I love you guys.
Of
So,
course, have to keep you on your toes.
speaking of people being heard, there is one consistent person in this community that I know that everybody wants to hear eventually, and I see him in this space every week. So I'm calling you out, Crypto Cartel. It is only a matter of time before you get your ass up here and speak to the people, because after the way that you tweet, Everybody wants to
Show
know
those
what
lettuce
the fuck you
fingers
sound
who
like.
are boss.
The legend, dude. The legend. I love
We love you so hard in this community, and
I would throw out Maximus. That's who I want to hear in the space. There, he's here every week. There he is. Let's go.
Let's get the
Let's
Maximus.
go.
Maximus. Hundreds for Maximus. Hundreds.
We did it. We did it.
What's up, heroes? I'm listening. I'm here. Long time listener, first time caller. How's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic now, my friend.
I gotta say though, I love all this. My favorite part of the show is at the beginning when Crypto Daddy Pig just says, "Hi everybody, I'm Crypto Daddy Pig."
He's just here frinting. He's just hiding over there. I gotta occasionally make sure he's still in here. Call him out. And I know it's scary up here. We got the king of NFTs, Michael, and we got a scary Viking over there in Floki. But love to hear from everybody. So,
Crypto Daddy Pig's the best friend out there. He's always got you with the memes, always got you with the Pepes. I appreciate the shout out today as well. Yeah, he's always with the best gifs and jokes out there for sure.
I have a couple of charts. I have a couple of charts, and you guys can laugh about them as much as you want.
Everybody knows your charts.
But
everybody knows your charts. I gotta talk about them.
But honestly, I'm so happy to just friend with you guys. I feel like, yes, I am the moderator or one of the moderators in the charting section of the Discord, but I just like Pepe preaches all the time. Like, this world sucks. There's a lot of angry people, and I don't have time for it. So I will go ahead and be a voice in that community to reach out to you guys and send you a gift or put my stupid face on a stupid video that sometimes doesn't even reference what the hell you guys are as characters, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I love you. And if I can make somebody smile just like Pepe does every morning by saying, "Hey, good morning, friends. I'm here." That's what I'm gonna do. That's part of what this community is. I may not be the Gigamind that Michael NFT Face is, but I am always here to friend and be a support and to transfer your questions to somebody who's qualified to answer them.
We appreciate you as always and love having you up here, my friend.
God, I love you, Daddy Pig. I just gotta say. I just want to talk real quick. I mean, I listen to this stuff, and I just want to say, I mean, yeah, I love the VJX Heroes community. I mean, you hear it. It's kind of cliche. Everybody just talks about, hey, zoom out, zoom out. But who the fuck wants to zoom out alone, right? We don't have to do that. We have the VJX Heroes community to zoom out together, and I'm so proud. Just everybody, posting, getting their new tiers. I mean, Twitter to me has been on fire the past month since VLP has kicked in. Everybody's just excited about what's to come, and it's just awesome to see. I mean, we're all in this together. This education spaces. This is something that, I mean, I'm a crypto newbie, just got into it this year, and this stuff didn't exist. I mean, Maximus, and I guess you say I'm VJX Hero #1. This was all kind of started. I mean, just kind of looking for a community, just some type of feedback, some type of just outreach. I mean, someone to just kind of, zoom out together. And so it's just awesome to see what everybody's doing, how this community's growing. And you got Daddy Pig, to just post funny stuff. It's supposed to be fun, and I think for the most part we are having fun. And I just appreciate the hell out of you guys.
Maximus, you are the freaking man, dude. And I don't want to put you on the spot here other than the closing statement, because I do want you to make a closing statement for the night. But I've been thinking about if I had to put notifications on for one person, I think I would like to nominate you. So, Heroes, and that's okay. If it's okay with you, Maximus, no pressure. Heroes, put your notifications on for Maximus, because he's the king of celebration and welcoming people into this community. He's the whole reason why this whole community even started. He was my inspiration for, as he said, pouring jet fuel on the fire that he started. So thank you, Maximus. Always VGX hero #1. I will start a Maximus chant for you in any call, anytime, any fucking where.
Right now. Do it.
Maximus, 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 Maximus.
Just a bunch of idiots up here having fun. I'm actually
Are
going
you
to,
not entertained?
I'm actually going to North Kakalaki, and I'm going to be visiting my friend Maximus here.
Absolutely.
Next week or so. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how many heroes I've already met. Just people that I would have never met and never known of, never came across if it wasn't for VGX Heroes. It's crazy, but I'm going up to his home turf up there in the hills, and I'm going to visit our guy.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, like I said, it's I made a post the other day about like what our heroes do, like what I do for work. I'm a welder fabricator and stuff, and we all have different lives outside of crypto and Twitter and stuff like that, and we're all I'm Maximus and stuff on Twitter, but yeah, it was good to hear Aragorn talk about we're all just we're people, we have our faults, we have our our good things about us and stuff, and it was good to get to know heroes on a more personal level, and I think that's what it is. I mean, we're a family, so it's good to know each other. I hope to meet all y'all one day at a VGX Hero conference. It was exciting to see everybody get together and from go from just avatars and gifs on Twitter to meeting in Daytona, and a couple of weeks I get to meet the first hero, Pepe, Stallone, my little brother. So I mean that's exciting, man. It's good to get to know all of you, and I've always said, my DMs are open. If you ever want to talk, I mean, we don't have to talk about crypto. I mean, we can talk about whatever you want to, I mean, it's my DMs are open. I love you all, and I appreciate the support.
Give him a good strength and honor.
What? Strength and honor. Sa.
Maximus, give him a good strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
I love it.
Love it.
When I see your post, so Floki, are you saying like strength and honor, or is it saw?
It's whatever it is, however you read it, man. For me, it's a little bit of both sometimes. Depends. If there's a lot of A's in between, it's more of a stream. But if it's straight SAH, it's more of a strength and honor. But my good friend in high school, he was a black belt, and he used to say all the time. So it was my own little spin on this. I get to tell one of my best friends from back in the day that I have everyone on the internet saying "saw." He laughs really hard.
That's awesome. Hey, I mean, all the heroes, if there's anybody here that's not a hero, I gotta say, what are you waiting for? It's fun. I mean, you don't have to commit to anything. It's just part about being a community, and joining us in the fun that we're having. I heard everybody kind of talking about before how I think Aragorn was talking about how Discord kind of calmed down. All this started in June, off Twitter. I mean, it started kind of with the DM from Floki about, hey man, I like what you're doing, and I think I'm gonna chime in. And I think I look back, I got like a DM. He's like, bro, I think I'm thinking about going like full Floki, and I was like, fuck yeah, do it. Let's just go. And it just kind of picked up steam from there. And I've been kind of going like a old school, just how we started. If I see people that are tweeting about VGX, about Voyager, about anything, hitting them up. Hey, you want to join our community? We had, I got our, the Grump, the new best friend winner. Got him tonight. He's a big time fan of the stock and the token. And I was like, okay, man, you won 5K in crypto. Next step is become a VGX hero. And it just, I wasn't going to let him off the hook. And there he is. He's VGX hero Hancock, Minton. He's done. So let's stick to our roots and stuff like that. We see people that are posting their buys. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm not doing it just to, you know, get any clout or anything like that. I'm really excited for these people because I know how excited they are. You know, I consider myself a small fish. I do what I'm comfortable with. I have a DCA plan. I stick to my plan, you know, and I just hit 2K VGX tokens this week, you know, and I'm fucking stoked, man. I mean, that was a goal I didn't think I would have, you know, but this community's helped push me. I'm getting there, you know, building my stack, you know, day by day. I got my weekly buys set up. I am a Bitcoiner. I buy Bitcoin weekly, almost daily. You know, I have a goal to be a whole coiner one day. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, you know, it's going to happen. So I support you, you know, you support me, and we'll just, you know, keep stacking Steves together.
Maximus is our leader.
No doubt.
Give
We're gonna
him
keep
a
this train
notification
going.
follow.
Yeah, follow everybody. Follow the hero page. Follow Floki. Follow Maximus. You see a new person in here you've never seen before. You know, maybe they have some cool artwork. Maybe they just look like a cool person. Give them a follow. You know, share the love. You know, that's what it's all about. And yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that's where we started. It was just, I mean, I'm Hero 10, and it came from Floki. Like, I saw them posting their daily buys. I was doing daily and weekly buys. I was like, oh, I'm doing this anyway. Let me tag in. And then now I'm here. So just, you see somebody that likes VGX, just reach out. Explain what heroes are. They may see it from the outside and think it's just some kind of goofy thing. And I'd be like, no, it's more than that. And starting next week, since, you know, I understand not everybody wants to come on stage, we're going to have a Discord tab for the weekly spaces. So maybe help out, get some more questions from you without having to always come up on stage, but try and help out with that. But once again, I appreciate every single person in here that's, you know, spent your evening with us, especially for the East Coast people. I know how late it is. I'm right there with you. This was all live stream live on Crypto Airborne Stream. It's going to get posted after. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the panel. We'll do a quick sign off, give everybody a last goodbye. So we'll start with Michael.
Sure. So just quickly, Pepe's little issue of convenience and people being able to put questions on the Discord, just for the record. Cartel, that doesn't apply to you next week. I fully expect you to use them salad fingers to press the accept speaker invite button. We want to hear you. This is a challenge. We'll talk to you next week, bud. But that's all I got for tonight. Everybody have a good night and a good week. Cartel will come to your salad fingers next week.
Oh, hold up. We got UT Snake Eyes, the king of art. Oh, well, he requested, then unrequested. But But so we'll move it on to Floki. Or let's go to Crypto Daddy. We'll let you and Aragorn and Maximus end it.
Yeah, for me, it's just you know, everybody that's on this panel or came up to speak tonight who wasn't just asking a question and is who already part of this community. We joke together. We have a good time. I've got some really good, you know, almost bestie level friends that I've made through this experience. So if you were a little bit hesitant on the VGX hero scene, or you've seen some things that you know, maybe you need to reach out to one of us for beforehand or whatever. But it's given me an opportunity to friend in a situation where, you know, because of what's going on in the world and working from home, I just really haven't had enough exposure to the outside world lately. So I have these friends on VGX Heroes, and we're able to, you know, just shoot the shit every day. And I would certainly encourage you guys to join us if you haven't already. And I love you.
Absolutely. Thank you. As always, we'll get you back up here again next week. We'll move it over to Thor, then we'll move it to Aragorn, Maximus, or Aragorn, Floki, then Maximus.
Yeah, I just want to say appreciate everybody coming on. Always love these conversations. Can't always be on them, but it's always great hearing everybody's, you know, opinions and just the community's aspect of it. And back kind of when I joined number 78, as everybody was kind of just getting started out, I had the same type of hesitancies. I didn't know what I was committing to. It kind of sounded like oh shoot, now you have to be out here, posting or bringing a bunch of things to the community. But I mean, Floki, everybody was very welcoming. I think that's something that we see in the communities a lot as well. Is like it can be a very toxic space, crypto Twitter, all of like crypto educational spaces, Facebook groups, etc. I think that's probably the biggest value that I see from the VGX community. It's everybody's here to learn. Everybody's here to have a good time, to be friends, make friends, and actually grow together. And it's not really a commitment aspect of it at all. It's you give as much as you want or as little as you want. And just kind of, everybody's here for you, and we all want to grow together. But besides that, have a great night. Yeah, it's a little bit past 11 now, so I'm about to hit.
Hey, appreciate you as always. You're welcome anytime, Aragorn.
Yeah, I had a catch up with one of those best friends that you sometimes don't chat for like a year, and then I had to cut him short. I'm like, hey, you were late by 30 minutes, but you're not going to interrupt my educational AMA that I have to help host. And then he was like, so what are you hosting or whatever? I'm like, well, I'm Lord Aragorn on Twitter, and it's about crypto. And I was like, this sounds too ridiculous, but I'm passionate about it. I love it. And just to add to the drama of it all, y'all don't realize, but about 10 minutes ago, we just about had a catastrophe. My phone was at 1%, and it would have gotten dicey real quick. So there's that.
Thank you as always, my guy. All right, Floki.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Every SA or extended SA, it means strength and honor. I want to be very clear about that. We don't expect anything from you guys except maybe the occasional gift. Let's get our gift game up. All right. And strength and honor, I'm going to hand it over to Maximus.
All right, I'll leave you with this, heroes. Years from now, I will be retired from crypto, vacation with Miss Maximus in our cabin in the woods. Imagine where you will be, heroes, and it will be so. If you find your portfolio wrecked and in the red, just hold strong, okay? Hold the line. Stay with me. VGX shares what we do in life echoes in eternity. Strength and honor.
Yes, sir. What a way to close it. Catch y'all next week.
Killer closing,
Thank
man.
y'all. Thank y'all, everybody. Catch y'all next week.